Yeah.
Yeah. Can we make ourselves bigger so that we can see it? Oh, we're just quite small at the moment. Right, I shall pop into my seat, and I think we've got 2 people watching, which is fabulous.
Good job, it's working.
So I'd like to say welcome to our Facebook Live session for today, coming live from the John Radcliffe Women's Centre in Oxford. I'm delighted to say that I've gathered together a lot of the leadership team to be able to be here to answer all of your questions or your queries. So we're going to go around and just introduce ourselves first. So if you want to start popping any questions or queries into the chat, we can go through those. I think some of the questions, it might be better to have them answered by people maybe that aren't here, or perhaps maybe on our infant feeding chat. So if I feel that maybe the questions are best answered elsewhere or at another time, then I'll just let you know that. But we're just hoping that this will be a really interactive session, that my panel of experts will be able to answer any queries you have. So we'll just pop round the room so everybody can say hi. So we'll start with Melissa.
Hi everybody, so my name is Melissa Redfern. I'm currently the Acting Director of Midwifery here at the OUH.
Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Druitt. I'm the matron for Maternity ultrasound.
Colette.
Hi, I'm Colette McGilchrist. I'm the Transformation Midwife here at John Radcliffe.
Jane.
I'm Jane Hamilton. I'm the interim matron for outpatient and tertiary services.
Sorry, Claire.
Thank you. I'm Claire Litchfield. I'm a trainee consultant midwife and I'm based at the John Radcliffe.
And Bronwyn.
Hi, I'm Bronwyn Eady. I'm the interim matron for maternity inpatients, bereavement and Spires midwifery-led unit.
And I'm Emma Rigby, and I'm the interim deputy head of midwifery here. So we're just waiting for a few people to join us, but I think we could maybe make a start with just talking through some of the things that have come up previously in chats and queries that we do here that our the birthing people and their families quite often sort of talk to us about. So maybe Bronwyn, do you want to make a start on just what to expect maybe when
yeah, of course. So I think what we can start with when we come on the antenatal ward. So if you come in for, and I think the main reason for you being admitted straight to the antenatal ward is for induction. So we have, I'll start on level 6, so we are on level 6, we have a mixture of midwives and maternity support workers along with our obstetric team. So when you come in either for an induction or if you're admitted by a maternity assessment unit, you'll come in, be greeted by one of them. They'll just we call it warding you in, so they'll just check that you know where things are, know most important where you can get tea and coffee and drinks from. We've got a 24-hour menu for all of the wards available, so if you're unfortunate enough to miss meal times or you've missed the ordering or whatever, there's probably a meal, then you were able to get a meal 24/7 all the way through the night as well. And then so in a daytime you'll be seen, or necessarily you'll be seen by one of the doctors, and it'll go from there. That's if you're admitted to the antenatal ward with kind of blood pressure problems or bleeding or anything like that. With regards to an induction, you'll be seen by the midwife and they will do an assessment, start the induction process off. I know we did a Facebook Live on that recently, so I won't go into it in too much detail. And then be careful throughout the day and night, and then go from there from your journey, either whether you're going to be discharged home or going down to delivery suite. From when you're on the postnatal ward, when you come in, again, we've got a mixture of quite a few more different job roles on the postnatal ward. So we have midwives, we have nurses, our obstetric nurses who can also provide care postnatally, maternity support workers, we've got maternity assistant practitioners, discharge coordinators, our domestic staff, our catering staff. We've got quite a big team, obstetricians, the neonatal team, we have midwives who do the newborn checks, so it's quite an extensive team. You'll be seeing them when you're admitted. Provided care for, we've currently also got, which I know has come up recently, we've got some new infant feeding team maternity support workers. So they're dedicated to providing breastfeeding support, and we call it an early learning day session. So before you go home, regardless of your feeding method, you should be seen by one of them and given help with how your chosen method of feeding, whether it be that breastfeeding, bottle feeding, making sure you're happy with making up feeds. So that's I think we've employed 3, 2 have started, just waiting for the final ones. That'll be really good. A good facility we've got available. And then we've currently also we're trying to improve our discharge time, so when women are ready to go home or their families are ready to go home, they are able to go home quicker. So we've got lots of things in the pipeline to be able to sort that, and one of that is we've got a board available so we can see quickly what people are needing, so we can prioritise people correctly, so we can get, if we need more midwives for all the newborn checks, we can hopefully get them. If we need more doctors to be able to do the discharges, we can do them. So yeah, we're really working hard to try and get families to go home as soon as possible if that's what they wish.
Thanks, Bronwyn. That was a true whistle.
Whistle stop tour. I could go on for the whole hour if you want me to. But I will feel lots of people.
So we've got 14 people joined us now. So for those just joining, just to let you know that we've got a lot of members of our leadership team here today to answer all of your questions. So pop them in the chat. So Charlotte's popped a comment in the chat, and she says she wishes us all well and hopes that we're all keeping safe, which is really kind. Thanks, Charlotte. And she's due this month with her second baby, and she's hoping to have a water birth at Spires.
Oh, lovely.
And her first daughter was actually born in the first lockdown. So things will be for you this time. So it's just really nice to hear from you, Charlotte. Thank you. So just remember, pop your questions in and get a panel of experts here. Give them the opportunity to answer any queries you have. I think everybody's here dreading I'm going to pick them out next.
It was good to go first.
So I'm just thinking that Colette. So Colette's our transformation midwife. It could just be really good if you could just explain what your role is and what how sort of our women, birthing people and families could understand that role a little bit more, see how they benefit from that. Yeah, thanks, Colette.
Hi everyone, I'm Colette, Transformation Midwife here at Oxford. I have just recently started in post with all those lovely people here. I've been in post for a month now, really enjoying it. So my role in transformation is maybe a concept that nobody's heard of yet or heard of before. If you look online, the Maternity Transformation Programme, there's a little video and there's like some different bits of information about the programme there. So I'm leading the transformation programme in Oxfordshire in cooperation with our local maternity and neonatal services across the region. So it includes Oxfordshire, Buckinghamshire and Berkshire as well. I've got 4 main work streams that I'll be working on, which are prevention, equity, continuity of care and personalised care and support planning. So what that would mean to you as birthing people using our services. So we are hoping to deliver personalised care in a way that we work in cooperation with you and obviously the Maternity Voices Partnership as well. So establishing a service that's based on the needs of our population and working in collaboration with you to understand what's important to you, what's important to your family and how we can make your experience of our service better for you. So that's the personalised care and support plan, and there is quite a lot of work in the pipeline that I'm working on that will be out with you soon. Surrounding personalised care and how we can truly offer personalised care to our birthing people using our services. Also, I'm looking at equity and how we can reach all areas of our population and again how we can make that service work for you. So again, it's about offering care that's based on the needs of you and your family. My prevention work streams cover everything from smoking cessation to breastfeeding to pelvic health. So anything that comes under the prevention category, I will be helping to oversee that as well. And yeah, that's pretty much me. That's a good enough summary.
going to put you on the spot.
Very well. I think it's just good to note that obviously, as Colette said, you know, this is a new role within the OUH, and you know, just a month in, and she's already, you know, really started to develop and connect with staff, with service users, with our MVP colleagues, and I think this is going to be a really exciting role for our service moving forward, and how it transforms the way that we build our services together. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it all goes. So thanks, Colette.
Thank you. You can it's not making me feel like a mastermind. So Charlotte, who popped the question in, popped the little hello and wished us well earlier, has just put a little bit saying she's nervous about this pregnancy because she has had a miscarriage in between this pregnancy and her last one, so this will be a rainbow baby. So does anybody just want to talk about what support Charlotte could get, and maybe think about the fact that she's feeling so nervous, what she could do and who she could speak to? I mean, to me, I think hopefully your community midwife, you're talking things through with your community midwife, talking through your concerns and your anxieties. If you are under the care of
the rainbow team as well.
Some women, does anybody want to run through about the rainbow team? I don't want it all just to be me talking.
I mean, so the concept of the rainbow clinic is for women who sadly had a pregnancy loss in a previous pregnancy, and it's really it's offered to women, and you know, it's not compulsory pathway, but some women find that they really benefit from the continuity of seeing say midwife in the clinic, not having to kind of rehearse the same stories over and again with lots of different people. That sometimes can happen when we're working in a busy hospital. So lots of women that use the service really rate it very highly. And there's a bit of therapeutic work in there as well in terms of preparing for pregnancy, understandably preparing for birth, because understandably there's a lot of anxiety around that. Just thinking for Charlotte, perhaps I don't know how many weeks she is, but there are things, you know, to talk with the community midwife certainly about how we can maybe work with her to relieve some of the concerns that she might be having about coming in. You know, is there anything that we can do to make it feel a little bit easier for her? And again, it's part of this personalised, you know, care planning that we're trying to sort of move towards, rather than assuming that everything works for everybody, which it doesn't always.
So very much an individual.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thanks, Claire. So Charlotte says that she's under the care of the Chipping Northern midwife. So we know that you're in really safe hands there. So I think, you know, the
perfect place for continuity and
absolutely. So just wish you all the well, Charlotte, all the best, and just talk to all of the people that are involved in your care and let them, you know, support you through this. But good luck with that. Oh, we've got another question popped in. Thank you. So this is from Emily. So Emily's due in May with her first baby. So she is nervous about being in a hospital environment. So we're set on the idea of a midwife-led unit as her place of birth. But she is concerned about the length of time it will take for JR if there's an emergency. Is this a common worry to have? Okay. Who wants to take this one?
It is a common worry, and you know, it's something to consider. And when you kind of think about your planned place of birth, we would talk to you about, you know, how long it might take, if this is this. In actual fact, when you have I think currently we do a kind of sort of check. It's like a checklist type that you just to go through, just to make sure we've talked across everything that might be, you know, you might be thinking about anything that might come up. And one of the things is about transfer time, so we're really clear about giving you that information so that you can make an informed decision about what you're going to feel most comfortable with. Because of course what you don't want is to feel super anxious about that and then that impacts on your experience. So I think having some reassurance, having a discussion with your midwife and go through that with you and hopefully, but it is a common
we update we work with SCAS and the ambulance service, and we update the transfer times really regularly, so we can give you a really current picture of what service is available from our team in the ambulance service.
So then that obviously then Emily would inform your decision making along with discussion with your community midwife, like, you know, when you see her in clinic.
And I think another top tip is, if you do decide to deliver at the JR, when we have your triage call, the maternity assessment unit, when you're in early labour, is just to let the midwife that you speak to know where you live and the travel time, so it can help with the management of when to ask you to come into hospital.
And of course we've got our alongside midwife-led unit here, which is Spire's unit, which is up on level 7, and it's wonderful views across Oxford. But that's our midwife-led unit, which is within the hospital. So if you do have those nerves about delivering out with our freestanding units, then we have got the options there of delivering on the Spires, which, as I said, is midwife-led. Maybe that's halfway between could relieve your anxiety slightly. But talk to your midwife, hear the information, and ask all of those questions.
It's about personalised care as well, isn't it? It just seems to be the thing that's like, it's understanding what's important to you and your family, and if you have a good sort of discussion with your community midwife about what's important to you, and then the idea would be the shared decision making, and then you're making the right choice based upon your needs and wishes.
Okay, so I've got another question come in. Thank you so much for these questions. This is great. So this is from Emma, and she's thanking everybody for the live chat today.
You're welcome.
So she wants to know, she's actually a birth worker in Oxford, and so is there any advice you can give if mothers want to have a pool for birth? For example, how soon do they need to book for availability, and is the birthing pool on the delivery suite working now, because there were some issues recently? So we haven't got our matron for delivery suite here today, but I'm happy just to say that we can't book the pool ahead of time because we never quite know when you're going to be coming in. And obviously there does need to be assessments and things when you come in, and working with you and helping you make those decisions. So we don't do any booking of pools at the moment, but I'm really happy to say that I spoke with the matron for delivery suite, and the new pool for delivery suite is all ordered with an installation date in March.
Thank you.
So really exciting that we're going to have that. And you were right, we did have some issues with the current pool, so on delivery suite it's not possible to use, but we have pools on Spires and in our freestanding MLUs as well. And come March we'll have a lovely new pool on delivery suites.
Which is very exciting.
Does anybody want to add anything else about that?
We've got 3 pools on Spires. We've got the so to have more than one labour using the pools on Spires, which is great.
I think we do our best to try and facilitate for people to have that choice of being able to use the pool.
And again, I think it's going back to your point there. If you are going to birth within the hospital setting, that when you do call, you know, maybe say that that's how you wish to birth as well in a pool. So we've got it. So the midwife who's taking the call has got that and can communicate that to the area, providing you are in labour.
Excellent. So more questions are coming in. So this is from Katie, and she's also expecting her first baby. So congratulations, Katie. She's just got a few questions about breastfeeding and concerned about if her milk doesn't come in, and wanting to know if there's information on breastfeeding or classes. So, and she's new to the area. So the great news is, Katie, is that our infant feeding team actually do Facebook Lives on the same channel. And they are wonderful. They're very experienced. They've been doing it throughout lockdown and beyond. And they are a real good source of information, but as is your community midwife. And once you have your baby, the team on the ward or in the unit that you deliver in as well. So So I would suggest log into the breastfeeding sessions on
There's a
week
replay.
Thursdays.
Yeah.
On this same channel and discuss with your community midwife. Did anybody want to add anything to that?
I think you can look back as well from the previous ones that have been done. There's saved on the MVP page, so you can have a look back in your own time as well.
And as Bronwyn mentioned, you will be given plenty of information before they're discharged home. You'll have those teaching sessions, won't you?
Lovely. So Emily, who asked the queries about birthing in the MLU, has thanked everybody for their help on this one. And she's currently 27 weeks, so she's got a bit of time to chat to her midwife. And the Spires is something she has been considering, but along with Banbury and Chipping Norton. So good luck. And actually, we've got some lovely little bit of work going on here with people that are watching. They're going to meet up and they're all communicating. So that's
Can we have an invite?
Yeah. So this is great. Some really nice chat going on. So I'm getting all sidetracked.
Well, that's great. That's what it's all about. It's about supporting each other through your pregnancies and
having that
you know, just
support.
discussing your.
So Charlotte has just popped in a question. Are we allowed to play our own music when we're in labour?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Get your playlist ready.
Yeah.
And it's your music.
It's your music, your
whatever you want.
experience.
Whatever keeps you nice and relaxed.
To be fair, I have had women that have had quite dancing,
Yeah.
like quite.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be sort of, your traditional
Mellow
sort of
and
melody.
gentle.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat, some nice dance music, and the hips going, whatever you fancy.
Anything that'll keep you upbeat as well.
Yeah.
Keep you energised.
Midwives enjoy it as well.
Yeah. So a bit of hard rock. And it's always fun. It's always fun to try and remember which song was playing when the baby actually. That's what we like to do, don't we?
And it's same for the ladies who are having elective sections. They can come in with a specified tracks because you can obviously deliver the baby to a specific track.
It's great. Hopefully that answers your question, Charlotte. So we've caught up with like I said, I'm reading lots of little chats and messages, sorry. We've caught up with the questions at the moment. We've got a few more people joined us, so I just wanted to say that we are, so I've got a selection of, not hand selected, it's just selection. Some of the team from the leadership team that have joined today just to be able to answer your questions and your queries. So anything you want to ask, just pop it into the chat and we'll try and answer it the best that we can do. I'm just thinking, while we've got a little break in questions, perhaps we'll go to Charlotte, our matron for ultrasound. You can perhaps just give a little rundown of what to expect in the way of scans in pregnancy and what to expect when you come in. Great.
Hi everyone. So typically in your pregnancy you'll have at least 3 ultrasound scans with us up here on level 4. The first scan is your first 12-week scan, so I say 12 weeks, but it can be any time between 11 and 2 and 14 plus 1. So the first scan is to officially date your pregnancy, so we will measure the baby from head to bottom, and that will give us the figure that we need to give you a due date. And also during that scan we'll be offered the choice of screening. So your midwife, you'll hopefully see your midwife before you come to your ultrasound appointment, but don't worry if you haven't seen your midwife and then you get your scan appointment coming through before that appointment with the midwife. We can talk to you about your options for screening. So screening is part of the National Screening Programme, and we offer you the opportunity to have screening for Down syndrome, Edwards and Patel syndrome. You might not have heard of the last 2 that I said. They're slightly more rare, but Down syndrome most people have heard of. The scan and the test is non-invasive, so it doesn't affect the pregnancy in any way. It's just part of the ultrasound scan where we look at the fluid that collects at the back of the baby's neck. So all babies have that fluid. Some have a slightly larger amount, and that can sometimes add to the sort of the risk factor that you have. So alongside your scan, you will have a blood test afterwards, and that goes off to the lab, and the results come through usually in about 7 to 10 working days. If it comes back as a higher chance result, you will get a phone call from our screening team, and they will talk to you and offer you some further testing, which is still non-invasive at that point. So after you've had your 12-week scan, you can book your 20-week scan. When you first come into the ultrasound department, you will have the opportunity to purchase pictures or a receipt for pictures, which you can either do before or after your scan. Either is fine, and they cost £5 each, and you can buy as many as you want. With your 12-week scan, we do suggest you have a full bladder. So if you come along and you've spent 20 minutes trying to find a parking space and you're bursting for the loo, do not worry. You can empty your bladder. There's a water machine in the waiting area, and we can try and get that filled back up again for us. Having a full bladder is not entirely necessary for your 20-week or any further scans after that. So it's just that first one really. So the 20-week scan is slightly longer. Usually takes about 30 to 40 minutes, and we're really having a thorough look through the baby from head to toe, checking for any abnormalities. At that scan, we also check some figures in your blood reading, so in your uterine artery. So I won't bore you with all the science of it, but we're basically trying to look at if we need to give you some extra scans later on. So most people have their 12-week, 20-week and 36-week scan. Some people, we give them a few extra in between at 28 and 32 weeks, and it's just to keep an eye on baby's growth. The sonographer will go through everything at the time of the scan. They're there to answer your questions. No question is too silly, and they will hopefully give you a nice positive experience, and you'll be able to see, as you're laying on the bed, at the end of the bed is another screen, so you can see everything that we're doing, and we talk through all the measurements that we're taking, and hopefully try and get you some cute pictures. We get a bit competitive with our picture taking. Try and get the best ones we can. I think that's about it. There's lots of information in the unit, lots of leaflets. If you've got any questions that you want to put in the chat there for me, then I'm happy to answer them if I've missed anything. But hopefully I've given you a bit of an overview of the ultrasound department.
Fabulous. Thanks, Charlotte. Thank you. So a couple of other questions have come in the meanwhile. So Charlotte has asked, will her daughter be allowed to visit the new addition after arrival? Bronwyn?
Yeah, so children are able to be visit on the postnatal ward. So we have visiting times between 8 and 8, and it can be 2 people and plus children as well. We do have limited space by the bedside, so if you've got lots of children, we might ask you to go to the day room, but yeah, that is possible to happen. And I'm not sure whether if they're allowed to be on delivery streets. Anybody know? I don't know. Yes, so, but definitely once you get onto the postnatal ward.
If anybody wants to query that, pop it in the chat and we'll always get back to you once we've confirmed with the matron.
I think we've said inpatient.
Children.
Yes, there's 2
birthing partners. The most up-to-date information will be on the website in relation to visiting.
So then, so Emma has asked, what happens if a lady doesn't want to have a vaginal examination on the arrival? So I'm thinking, Claire.
Happy to discuss. So again, going back to the theme of individualised care and personalised care planning. So we offer vaginal examinations to really part of our kind of diagnosing labour. Usually we would offer that, but it's not a mandatory thing, and there are other ways of assessing whether or not you're in labour, such as how much you're contracting, how are you behaving, those sorts of things. So if it's really important to you that you don't feel that you would want a vaginal examination on admission, or when you first come in, it's probably something just to highlight and think about how you're going to feel about being offered one, what the alternatives. So it's absolutely not a mandatory thing at all. We're not doing anything without your consent at all, and we understand that for some people it's difficult, and it's not something we undertake lightly anyway. It's often for a good reason. So I think if it's something that you feel quite strongly about coming in, it's probably worth having a conversation with your community midwife about, and just think about what what would you prefer? Like, what would the alternatives be? How could we make you feel most comfortable?
And that could be something that you put within your birth plan as well.
It just, I mean, it helps us not to keep asking the same question, really. If it's clear from the beginning and we've got a clear plan for you and we understand, what's important to you, it stops people kind of making the same offer over and over again, which is can be a bit difficult.
So Alicia's just talked a little bit about pools, birthing pools again, and she just wanted to confirm, do you have to book in advance for a pool birth?
So no, you don't need to book in advance for a pool birth. Like I said, if you give a call when you're ringing up to initially to say that you're in labour, you just let people know that you're requesting the pool, and then we'll do our best to facilitate it. Hopefully, looking at March time, we'll have one available on Delivery Suite and 3 available on the Spires, and they're all available in all the standalone midwifery-led units. Hopefully, we're quite good at doing a quick turnaround. So if you are to arrive in labour and there's somebody who's just finished using the pool, we're really quite good at trying to move them as soon as possible that's comfortable for that family to a different room so that we can clean the pool and get ready for the next person. So yeah, unfortunately you can't book the pool, but you just let us know as soon as possible so we can try and facilitate it and make sure it's free.
So Emma, who popped the question earlier, she's the birth worker, has just said thank you for the answers. It's really reassuring for her to be able to tell her couples that she sees about this. So that's great. So we're up to date with our questions, so we know what that means.
Over to me.
Over to me. Our matron for outpatient services.
For some of you, obviously not all of you, you will need to come and tap into our antenatal services. This may happen in a couple of ways. It could be at the beginning of your pregnancy, following your initial appointment with your community midwife. Having had a discussion about any previous pregnancies or any existing maternal conditions, then between you plan your care, and then it might be decided that you will need an obstetric review. She can refer you into our normal antenatal services, where you will be invited to come along and see one of our obstetricians and discuss your plan of care and also potentially discuss a delivery plan. For some of you, a one-off appointment will be sufficient and then we can discharge you back to your community midwife. Or for others, you may need future appointments. Our antenatal clinic is based on level 1, and we always advise you to allow a decent amount of time for that appointment, just because occasionally you may well need to see more than one person at that appointment. The clinics, when you attend, there are midwives and maternity support workers in attendance, and then you will see the obstetrician afterwards. Some of our clinics are quite specialised, and they have specialist midwives and obstetricians working within those clinics. And then on top of that, we also have our antenatal clinic service on level 6, and that's known as our fetal maternal medicine unit. There are 3 specialities within the fetal maternal medicine unit. So it's we've got the words up. It includes our maternal medicine, that sometimes you may have heard it as the Silver Star unit. There is the fetal medicine unit, and there is the diabetes service. So for the maternal medicine unit, you will again be referred there following your appointment with your community midwife. And this service is required for women who have a higher risk maternal medicine condition. So you'll need the help of our obstetric physicians in order to be able to manage your pregnancy and make sure that we keep you as well as possible. You may be also offered additional scans within that service, but again, it's all individualised to what you require. There's the fetal medicine unit, referrals to the fetal medicine unit tend to come from our scan department. That may be from your 12-week scan, or it may be your 20-week scan, depending on the condition. So the referral will come through to our fetal medicine unit, where you will see our specialist team, our midwives and our obstetricians, who are very, very experienced at helping you through, what can be quite a stressful time. Because at the end of the day, everybody worries about the welfare of their baby through the pregnancy. So so be reassured that, if you are referred there, that, you will get all the input of our specialist team to see you through the pregnancy. And again, because of the nature of having to monitor fetal well-being, you will be offered extra scans at that time. Our diabetes service is for women who are diabetic when they get pregnant, or they may well develop diabetes in the pregnancy. So there's two different groups. So there's two different ways of being referred. Again, at the beginning of your pregnancy, or for some of you may have heard of a test called the glucose tolerance test, which some of you may need to have in your pregnancy. And if the results show that you need some extra input from our diabetes team, you will be referred to us.
Thanks, Jane. That's lovely. So we've got a question from Charlotte, and she's asking, she had a suction cup to help to deliver her first baby, so with 1-2s, and if her second baby needs help to deliver, can she ask for that again? I don't know who wants to answer that.
You're quite in the corner.
Chip in as well, Claire.
Yeah, so I suppose the good news is that much less likely to need that sort of intervention in a second pregnancy, because your body has, knows steering, has been there before, so probably a lot less likely to need it. It would be reasonable to sort of discuss that with the team that are with you at the point of birth, if that's something that seems to be necessary. It certainly would be considered if you said, please could I have it. I think it's quite difficult to say, isn't it, without because at the very end of when the baby's coming, it can be quite quick, and but if the baby's coming and there's no need to intervene, then we wouldn't. But if we felt that maybe we did need some assistance, then it would be a discussion with you about your preferences anyway. At that point, so certainly it's something that you can discuss with the team. When you're kind of at that point. So.
And if you are on delivery suite, then that was absolutely a question that you could ask the obstetric team on that day, or certainly have that discussion, as Claire said, if that's something that you want to visit at that time. But yes, it would be absolutely a discussion between you and the obstetric team that was on that day.
It's a good point actually, because we would only do that intervention in the delivery suite setting. So it's not something that we midwives would be able to do on the birth centres or in the community. So it would be with the obstetric team.
And the obstetric team do generally go in and say hello to all the women if that is what you all wish. Obviously, again, that's a discussion between you, the midwife, and the team on that day.
I should have just added in my little bit.
And
we start for all the ladies who are in the north of the county, that we do have some antenatal clinics at the Horton as well. So not all of them are based at the John Ratcliffe. So we do try to attend to the service in the north of the county as well as being at the John Ratcliffe.
We also have scan clinics there as well. Maybe offered you scan at the Horton or here at JR, depending on where you live. Melissa, did you want just 2 minutes just to introduce yourself and say anything at all?
You thought you were going to say. So, For those of you who've joined a little bit later, my name is Melissa Redfern. I'm currently the Acting Director of Midwifery, so I'm leading the midwifery service and working with these wonderful people sat here in this room. So I guess my job is, as I say, is leading the service, maternity service from the midwifery aspect. So supporting the team, supporting women's services, and obviously working with the MVP very closely in how we sort of move our services forward collectively, collaboratively. So there's lots of work been going on around sort of that strategy between us, the service user, and obviously services around. So it's that real collective move forward. Obviously I've been working very closely with the community deputy head of midwifery, our matron for community services, Wendy Hill, who's not here today, but working very hard on the opening of the birth centres in Chipping Norton and Wantage. So that's been very much at the forefront of my priorities recently, and ensuring that we have continued safe staffing to provide the safe staff across all our services. So that's just a little bit about me.
Thank you. Thank you. So Charlotte, who's been fabulous today, has kept us busy, has actually apologised for asking questions.
No, not apologise at all.
This is exactly what it is.
Yeah, this is why
Keep
we're
them
here.
coming, please.
So thank you for asking the questions. So Alicia has popped in a question into the chat, just asking, do we have any specialised support or guidance during birth with rainbow babies? So
we've got so we have a team, our rainbow team, who don't necessarily provide all the intrapartum care, but who are around to support the staff throughout providing care for rainbow babies. We've got the rainbow clinic, so they'll be able to make a plan of care and have that conversation again, go back to the individualised care and really important to have those birth plans of what you feel comfortable with, and what you would like, what you don't like, and what you would expect, and what we can do to help support you, because we know rainbow babies, there can be quite a lot of anxieties around there. So we do have our rainbow team and the bereavement team as well, who we're going to soon start putting on study days for all members of staff to attend, just so that we can keep everybody updated on what we're learning as we're going along. So as I'm sure with lots of things in the NHS, we're constantly learning, we're constantly from feedback we get, which is why it's really important to have these sessions and to learn from previous experiences and how we can improve our service. So we do have a team available who to provide support to the staff who are providing the care.
thanks, Bronwyn. Thank you. So I'm just going to come briefly to Claire again.
Oh my
Claire.
This is just
Yes. Claire said I'm just going to pop it back. But actually, Claire is one of our consultant midwives. Her job is so wide and varied. It'd be really lovely if you could talk a little bit just about the birth choices clinic, because that's something a lot of people watching may be interested in.
So there's myself and Sophie McAllister, the consultant midwife, and we run clinic on a Wednesday afternoon and a Thursday morning. And it's really like an extended appointment for anybody who would benefit from an extended conversation about birth planning. So we see women who've been referred by their community midwives. So often it's where you might have this conversation, for example, about choosing to not have vaginal examinations. So we can sort of have an appointment with you and just make a birth plan really, and have a bit more time to understand what's important to you, what may have led up to these kind of decisions that you're thinking about. Is there anything that we can do to make certain things more acceptable, or is it, so it's all about kind of finding the right fit for you. Obviously in the context of our guidance and advice that we we have our clinical guidelines that we kind of work with, giving you information as well about why we make certain recommendations about place of birth or options. So that's what we offer. So at the moment it's accessible through referral. We get referrals from antenatal clinic, from obstetricians, or from community midwives. And we we work actually with an obstetrician. It's a multidisciplinary team at the moment, so we do have a good deal of expertise in that team. And so far, we do seem to have a lot of positive feedback from the women that use the
Wonderful
service.
feedback.
Really good. Thank you so much. Thanks, Claire. So we're into our last 10 minutes now. It's flown up, actually. So that's me asking questions. So we're in our last 10 minutes. So if you want to ask any questions, just get them into the chat while we've got this team of experts.
Emma, why don't you tell her?
I can move over.
How do I
Just
follow?
when you.
So I'm the interim deputy head of midwifery for community services, ultrasound and safeguarding, and public health. And so my role is to support the matrons in those departments, in very much as Melissa said, in supporting and developing the service, working closely with the MVP, and looking at just supporting that service, growing, developing it. You've put me on the spot now. I'm the question mark. So that's kind of me in just a few words. And next time if they ask me, I'll be way prepared.
Make sure to ask the question next time when they see Emma again.
So I'm going to just finish up. Oh, actually, somebody's just put in, is this live chat recorded so that I can share if couples ask? Yes, it is. Yeah. So they're all available. We generally, since this started off in lockdown, and we obviously had a lot of people watching them in lockdown because lots of people were at home. Now lots of people are out and about at work and other commitments. We have less people watching, but afterwards the views and the shares, we do like to think we almost go viral.
Not quite.
I like to think we're almost viral.
Almost.
Story of my life. So watch it. Share it.
Insta followers.
Honestly, where should we start? So absolutely, it can be watched and shared as well. Charlotte's asking who works at Spires.
I'm the matron for the Spires. I will be doing the occasional shift up there, so you may see me up there. But it's me.
What is the next session? Do you usually give a little heads up around the next session?
What we do is we just look ahead and we look at some of the questions. We've got some ideas and some plans, but then we work carefully to make sure availability of staff to be able to put on the best session that we can, so we know this is precious time. And then we'll work with the MVP to advertise that. But if there are any sessions that anybody really wants to see, or if any of the teams that you want to hear from, then please just let us know, because this is all about what you need and what you want. So we'll do our very best to try and ensure that we can do that. Emma has put in the chat, we all deserve a cup and a slice of cake.
Perfect.
I agree.
We're all still on the January.
And Charlotte said that we're all NHS heroes, which is
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you.
I think we should just finish the session off by perhaps just going round and giving that best bit of advice that you'd give your best mate, or whether it's the most important thing you pack in your bag, or the thing never to forget, or the bit of advice, just something that we would say to somebody, and I will start it off if you want. And my bit is always ask what's on. If you've got a question, ask it. It's never a daft question, it's never a stupid question. If it's your question, if it's worrying you, if it's concerning you, ask that question. Even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, there's always staff here that can help you and support you and answer those questions if they are causing you concern. So never just be at home worried over something. just call us.
What I would say following on from that is that no question is a silly question, because it's not, to you it's important. So it's about having that open communication, and even if you think it's silly, ask that question, because if we don't know, we can't help you.
So Bronwyn,
Mine's a really practical one. Bring a pen. So, one from going from the asking questions. I think sometimes you may see your midwife, especially I'm thinking of the inpatient areas, and you think of a question and you might not see them for a while. It doesn't feel important enough to run and ask somebody, but you might want to ask next time. So one, to jot down things like that, but two, especially postnatally, we give you a care plan, and the majority of that is for you, and it's got bits about feeding and writing down how you think the feed went, how much did baby take, how long were they on the breast for, if they had wet and dirty nappies, and it's a really good section of the care plan that you can use to be able to. Because obviously when you've had a baby, things have got a lot going on, so you might forget them. So when we're going, what colour was the baby's nappy, or how many poos or wees did the baby have? So just having that pen there, be able to make a note of it. Very, very, very practical one. Practical.
Yeah, equally practical, and also all about your comfort. And like a really nice pillowy eye mask. I think everybody should have one if they're coming into hospital at any point. And have that would be that would be my number one thing for your bag, definitely. I'm glad you mentioned that. I was going to say paper.
That's really good, because I remember working in community, we are always write your questions down.
Yeah, just going to say.
Or on the ward, you might not see a member of staff for a little while. And just that, write it down quickly if you think of something, so when they come into the room you can ask those questions.
And midwives and nurses are quite precious about their own
Yeah.
They're not going to lend you one necessarily, so I think they do go missing, don't they?
Jane, was there anything you wanted to add onto your
Just from a practical perspective, just coming to clinic, as I said, because you need to allow a certain amount of time to be there, bring plenty of snacks, and also the car park. It doesn't take coins, money. You pay by card or by your phone. So just for that practical advice. Also, if you're bringing somebody with you, ask them to maybe take notes of your consultation, because you are given quite a lot of information, and I know myself from personal experience, when you're given a lot of information, sometimes it's quite difficult to take it all in at once. So that other person could help you by taking those notes, and also, as Melissa just said, come armed with your list of questions, because at the time you do forget, and if you've got that list to refer back to, it's really helpful.
Thanks, Jane. Thank you. Alex.
I think everybody's I was just going to say about involving birth partner and supporters as well. So it's it's a big event in you and your family's lives, and we want to make it extra special, really as special as it can be for you. No questions too silly, as we've said, and just jot things down to open up discussion on how we can help you make this the best experience for you and your family. So involve birth partner, friend, mum, whoever's going to be with you, and in the decision making process, so we can make it comfortable and enjoyable for everyone.
Charlotte.
I'm going practical again and back to the car park, because with appointments, obviously you kind of try and get there and you want to be there on time, and our car park is renowned for being a little bit of a nightmare, especially after sort of 10:30, 11 o'clock. It can take a little bit of time and you're kind of just going round and round, and that is really stressful when you have to be there. We will try and accommodate you, and if you're a little bit late, that's don't panic about it, but if you allow a good half an hour, maybe even a little bit longer to park, it will just take down those stress levels for you a little bit. And then the other thing I was going to say, just going back to the scan, is quite a common thing people want to know at the 20-week scan is the gender of the baby. and it's very popular now having gender reveal parties and things. So sometimes a common question is, can you write it on a piece of paper? And I just wanted to say we can't actually write it on a piece of paper, but what we can do is put it on the scan report. So we just try and cover it with a little post-it note so that you're not tempted to peek. But it's just to let you know that although we can't write it on a piece of paper, we can put it in the report for you and then just quickly close the book, and then you'll just have to use all your willpower not to look at that scan report and pass it on to whoever's doing your surprise for you.
Thanks, Charlotte. Melissa.
Oh, so how do I end this? Great practical. I think for me, I think it's just, you know, just keep an open mind with pregnancy and birth. Things do change, and you know, again, from a personal experience, you know, it's just to, keep an open mind and just try and enjoy it the best you can, because this is your experience, and use those people, support people around you. Use the midwives in terms of asking the questions, getting all that information that you need to make that journey the best it can be for you.
Thanks, Melissa. And Emma's popped in and pack a bendy straw, easier to
Yeah.
drink from.
Definitely.
Another great practical.
Well, we've come to the end of the session. Thank you so much. I want to thank my colleagues. They've been brilliant today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you, everyone, and thanks to Emma.
We will be back again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.